Namaskar and welcome to Midday Prime. At the very start of the program, let's go across live to a webinar, which is the India-Sweden webinar, which is being addressed by the Defence Minister Rajnath Singh. Let's go across live now.
Our strong bilateral relationship is also based on strong business and research and development linkages. Friends, going through the data in public domain, I could see that our bilateral trades and investment has increased tremendously in recent years, with trades increasing from $3 billion in 2016 to $4.6 billion in 2019. This growth is spectacular and can be attributed to increase in number of Swedish companies in India as well as Indian companies in Sweden. India is also third largest trading partner for Sweden in Asia. This shows our robust business ties. Friends, I am happy to note that the Swedish business presence in India is very old as well as diversified. The big names like Ericsson, Spotify, and Truecaller in IT sector, Volvo, Scania in automobile sectors, ABB and SKF in electrical engineering and artificial intelligence sector, and AstraZeneca in pharmaceuticals, Saab in defense are testimony to the strong Swedish business presence in India. Friends, Saab has collaboration with several Indian companies including Tech Mahindra, HL, BEL at Hyderabad, Tata Advanced Materials, Mahindra Aerospace, HL and CIM Tools at Bangalore. Friends, similarly, the Indian business presence in Sweden has also been increasing rapidly. Some of the big names being Bharat Forge, Wipro, Cadila Pharmaceuticals, Aditya Birla, HCL Technology, TCS, L&T and Tech Mahindra, etc. Friends, I am told that a strong institutional mechanism has been established to promote business linkages between the two countries. Our embassy in Sweden as well as Swedish embassy in India are both actively engaged in promoting these economic linkages through organization of events in host countries. Mechanisms like India-Sweden Business Roundtable and Sweden-India Business Council are contributing tremendously to this development. Friends, besides, there exists a range of MOUs and agreement for bilateral cooperation in the field of science and technology, healthcare, urban development, renewable energy, railways, polar science and defense. What I wish to highlight is that our bilateral business and government-to-government relations are on a strong institutional footing. India and Sweden Defence Cooperation MOU, which was signed during the European Union-India Summit under presidency of Sweden in November 29, 2009, has scope for exchange of expertise, training, logistics and maintenance, military technical cooperation, defence industrial and research development cooperation and exchange in UN peacekeeping missions. The Joint Working Group on Defence Cooperation envisioned in the MOU has also met in Delhi in December 2018. India and Sweden has also signed General Security Agreement in 2019 on the exchange and mutual protection of classified information, enabling a comprehensive partnership in all defence sectors. It is also heartening that the two Prime Ministers have reiterated that innovation for a more sustainable future is at the heart of the India-Sweden partnership. Critical areas of cooperation here include renewable energy, health and life sciences, startups, manufacturing, smart cities, urban transportation and waste management, each of which is potentially transformational in expanding our ties. Friends, I am glad to mention that over the past few years, the Indian defense industry has been galvanized through progressive policy and procedural reforms which has catapulted the industry to serve not only Indian requirements but also meet global demand. In this direction, FDI, liberalization and improved ease of doing business has already attracted top defense companies of the world and have joint ventures in India. Further, Government of India has allowed foreign direct investment up to 74% through automatic route and up to 100% through government route, wherever it is likely to result in access to modern technology. The technology-centric FDI policy will enable Indian industry to collaborate with the Swedish industries in the field of niche and proven military technologies. The Atmanirbhar Bharat campaign envisages the defense sector to play a major role in India's economic growth. Several policy initiatives have been taken by the government which aim to create a long-term momentum towards the growth of the Indian industry. Friends, the Defense Acquisition Procedure 2020 pushes forward for higher indigenous content and further encourages domestic manufacturing and has provided a strong foundation for India to emerge as a defense manufacturing hub. These initiatives pave way for more Swedish-Indian partnerships for Make in India and Make for the World under various categories of the Defense Acquisition Procedure 2020. Such a partnership model shall also lead to increased participation of Indian vendors in the global supply chain through impetus on indigenization. Friends, the easing of FDI regulations and introduction of Buy Global Manufacture in India in DAP 2020 are invitations for the foreign original equipment manufacturers to participate in the opportunities offered by the Indian defense industry. The foreign OEMs can set up manufacturing facilities individually or partner with the Indian companies through a joint venture or technology agreement to capitalize on the Make in India opportunity. There is a lot of scope for Sweden and Indian defense industry for co-production and co-development. Indian industry can also supply components to Swedish industries. Swedish firms such as Saab already have a major presence in India, and I am confident that over Swedish firms will find India as a major investment destination for defense manufacturing. India has a vast defense industrial base with 41 ordnance factories and 9 defense public sector undertakings and expanding private sector industries supported by an ecosystem of over 12,000 micro, small and medium enterprises. Indian defense industries have expertise over a wide range of high-tech defense systems for air, land and sea and space applications. System of over 12,000 micro, small and medium enterprises. Indian defense industries have expertise over a wide range of high-tech defense systems for air, land and sea and space applications. The mission Atmanirbhar Bharat or Self-Reliant India of Honorable Prime Minister of India, Shri Narendra Modi, is about producing cost-effective quality products and in its core has the motto Make in India and Make for the World. Friends, I would like to mention that India has a robust shipbuilding industry with an ecosystem of world-class public and private shipbuilding companies. The ships constructed by Indian shipyards are of global standards and extremely cost-effective. Both the countries may collaborate in shipbuilding industry for mutual benefit. Continuing from our Honorable Prime Minister's address at the India-Sweden Virtual Summit, I once again take this opportunity to invite Swedish firms to invest in the dedicated defense corridors of Uttar Pradesh and Tamil Nadu, where they can benefit greatly from the unique incentives being offered by the state governments and the availability of the highly skilled workforce in India. Various sessions lined up in the instant webinar, I am sure, will serve as effective platform to bring the industries, government officials from both sides together to establish a strong connect for future partnership and convergence of strategic and commercial interests. Friends, I place my sincere appreciation towards the Society of Indian Defence Manufacturers, Confederation of Indian Industry, and the Swedish Security and Defence Industry Association, whose continuous efforts have strengthened our bilateral industrial cooperation. I am happy to note that on this occasion, SIDM and SOF are signing an MOU to promote bilateral defence industrial relations, wherein a dedicated joint working group will be formed to take forward mutual objectives. I wish both the organizations the very best for this endeavour. Friends, I also congratulate SIDM on launching a defence industry directory named the SIDM Members Directory, a 360-degree overview. I am pleased to note that this publication lists 437 companies operating in the Indian defence and aerospace sector, including major public and private organizations, MSMEs, and startups as well. The directory also contains information relating to the latest policies and procedures relating to the defence industry. As India changes gears to become a global hub for defence manufacturing, I am confident that this publication will significantly enhance the visibility of the defence industry champions to their stakeholders, including Indian and foreign governments, their defence forces, and the foreign OEMs. Friends, on behalf of Government of India, I would like to extend an invitation to a delegation at highest level from Sweden to India and have a glimpse of Indian defence industry and defence industry corridors. I am sure that a delegation from Sweden would find many areas of interest for further cooperation. Lastly, I once again thank all the dignitaries who are present here today for their active participation and wish the webinar a grand success. Thank you very much. Jai Hind.
So we were listening to the address of the Defence Minister Rajnath Singh to the India-Sweden Defence Cooperation webinar that was taking place, and of course the Defence Minister there inviting Swedish business interests to invest in India's defence industry, especially in the defence corridor in Tamil Nadu. Moving on then, let's begin this bulletin with the big news at this hour. After 63 days, India reports less than 1 lakh daily cases. With 86,000 new infections, the daily positivity rate reduces to 4.62%, 23 crore 61 lakh doses administered so far. The centre issues revised guidelines for vaccination from the 21st of June. The centre to procure 75% vaccines and provide them to states free of cost. States ease restrictions as the second wave weakens. Bihar government ends the lockdown, but night curfew to stay. Rajasthan starts unlock process from today. Markets and shops to remain open till 4 p.m. Weekend curfew still in force. Punjab allows shops to reopen. Private offices to function with 50% of the staff. Maharashtra Chief Minister Uddhav Thackeray calls on the Prime Minister. Financial assistance for cyclone relief and Maratha reservation issues discussed. The Deputy Chief Minister Ajit Pawar and the head of the Maratha Reservation Subcommittee, Ashok Chavan, were present. The Malian strongman, Colonel Assimi Goita, is sworn in as the transitional president following his second coup in less than a year. Promises that the government will uphold all its commitments, pledges to stage a credible, fair and transparent election, and also appoints political veteran Chogal Maiga as the transitional prime minister. BCCI announces the team for the one-day and T20 series against Sri Lanka. T20 series to start from the 21st of July. Rahul Dravid to be the coach of the Indian team. In the French Open, the fourth seed and last year's runner-up Sofia Kenin is knocked out by Greece's Maria Sakkari in straight sets, while the men's singles Djokovic survives a major scare against teenager Lorenzo Musetti to reach the 15th French Open quarterfinal. And also Nadal cruises swiftly into the quarters. So let's begin with the big story. India continues to witness a decline in new daily cases of COVID. The country has registered less than 1 lakh daily new cases after 63 days. India's new cases reported in the last 24 hours stood at 86,498. That's the lowest in 66 days. India's active caseload has further declined to 13,03,702. The active cases decreased by 97,907 in the last 24 hours. Recoveries too have continued to outnumber the daily new cases for the 26th consecutive day in the last 24 hours. 1,82,282 patients recovered during the last 24 hours, as we said, and as many as 2,73,41,462 patients have recovered across the country so far. The recovery rate increases to 94.29%. Positivity rate weekly is standing at 5.94%, and the daily positivity rate is at 4.62%, and it's less than 10% for 15 consecutive days now. And under the nationwide vaccination drive, India continues to inoculate its population against COVID-19. The Prime Minister, in his address to the nation on Monday, had said that the government of India will provide free vaccines to all citizens above the age of 18. And he also said that the Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Anna Yojana will be extended till Diwali. So far, more than 23,61,98,000 doses of COVID-19 vaccines have been administered in the country, and of these, more than 18,95,95,000 have received their first dose, and 4,66,02,000 have received both doses. In the last 24 hours, over 33,64,000 vaccine doses have been administered, and more than 30,38,000 have received their first dose in the last 24 hours, and over 3,26,000 have received their second dose. So more than 24,65,44,000 vaccine doses have been provided to states and union territories so far, and of these, the total consumption, including wastage, is over 23,47,43,000 doses. So more than 1.19 crore COVID doses, vaccine doses, are still available with the states and union territories to be administered. Meanwhile, testing for COVID-19 has substantially been ramped up across the country, and according to the ICMR, 18,73,485 samples were tested for COVID yesterday. A total of 36,82,07,596 samples have been tested across the country till yesterday. Now let's look at the revised guidelines for the implementation of the national vaccination program. But before that, we must emphasize that the government has been proactively involved with this program since April of 2020. India's national COVID vaccination program is built on scientific and epidemiological evidence. It follows WHO guidelines and global best practices. It's implemented through an effective and efficient participation of states and union territories and also the people at large. It's a whole of government approach. Government of India's commitment has been unwavering from the beginning. The strengthening of R&D, encouraging and enabling manufacturing, and then vaccinating each and every adult Indian safely as fast as possible. So that's the basis of the policy. Now, the government has taken several proactive steps. From April of 2020, the task force for focused research on corona vaccine was headed by the principal scientific advisor to the government of India. In August of 2020, the National Expert Group on Vaccination Administration, NEGVAC, that was to formulate a comprehensive action plan for vaccine administration across the country. It was co-chaired by the member Health Niti Aayog and also the Union Health Secretary together. Now, in January of 2021, the Empowered Group on Vaccine Administration for COVID-19 were to facilitate optimal utilization of technology for COVID vaccination, all-inclusive, transparent, simple, scalable, and that was headed by the CEO of the National Health Authority. Well, priority to strengthen the country's healthcare system, that's the overall arching theme, and protecting professionals, health and frontline workers, manning it, protecting the most vulnerable population groups. And so, keeping all this in mind, it commenced the vaccination to healthcare workers first, and then it expanded to frontline workers, citizens over 60 years of age, citizens more than 45 years of age, and eventually citizens more than 18 years of age. So based on vulnerabilities and importance, those were the priorities. Then from the 16th of January to the 30th of April 2020, 100% of the vaccine doses were being procured by the government of India. They were provided free of cost to the state governments. The state governments were to administer vaccination free of cost on the priority groups. And private hospitals then were enlisted, and they were to increase the vaccination pace. So under the revised guidelines now, which are effective from the 21st of this month, 2021, the government of India will procure 75% of vaccines. The vaccines will be provided free of cost to states and union territories. They'll be administered by the states and union territories free of cost through the government vaccination centers and prioritized as the following: healthcare workers, frontline workers, citizens more than 45 years of age, citizens whose second dose has become due, and states and union territories can decide on their own prioritization for the 18 to 44 age group. Vaccine allocation is based on population, disease burden, wastage. So if a state has excessive wastage, then that will negatively affect their vaccine distribution. Now, as incentives, the vaccine manufacturers also are provided with vaccines directly to private hospitals. So they can provide that. That's restricted to 25% of their monthly production. But the government of India will facilitate the supply of these vaccines to the private hospitals. It will be done through the National Health Authority's electronic platform. And the price of the vaccine doses for private hospitals is declared by each manufacturer, and any changes should be notified in advance. The private hospitals may charge up to 150 rupees per dose as a service charge. The state governments may monitor the price being so charged, and also all citizens, irrespective of their income status, they are entitled to free vaccination. The CoWIN platform will facilitate the pre-booking of vaccination appointments. There's also on-site registration facility that's also available, and the procedure for this on-site registration will be finalized and published by states and union territories to minimize inconvenience. And revised guidelines will be reviewed from time to time. Now, Meghna Dev is now joining us with more on this story. Well, Meghna, so the new vaccination program, new guidelines actually have been issued. Very clearly, the priorities are very clearly defined, but the importance is for the 18 now to 44 age group, and each state government has been given the freedom to decide the priorities within this age group. And so just, overall, just tell us how this new policy is going to affect the vaccination and the vaccination drive and the administering of vaccinations.
Absolutely, Mark. When we actually see that the central government will be procuring 75% of the vaccines that would be manufactured, and after that it will be allocating to the states and the union territories. And that allocation is not just going to be, in any manner. There is a proper mechanism that has been devised to allocate these vaccines to the states and union territories, be it taking in account of the caseload, taking in account the people to be vaccinated, the population, also taking in account the adverse impact. As we already said, the adverse impact will also be there on states if they do a lot of wastage of vaccines, because the Prime Minister also yesterday emphasized on that there has to be the wastage of vaccines have to be stopped and there has to be reduced. So the wastage also has to be taken into account. Besides that, there has been a priority list set, healthcare workers, the people.
Yes.
People above age of age will be prioritized for the vaccine thing. Also, very importantly, when we talk about these new guidelines, very important this fact comes that the central government will inform in advance, will inform beforehand to the states that how much or how many vaccine doses they will be getting, how many vaccine doses that will be allotted to them, so that the states can actually, decide on their sessions, the number of sessions they can allocate to the districts or they can allocate to the government hospitals. The amount can be, the mechanism can be devised by the state government if they are informed beforehand about the amount of vaccines that will be allocated to them. Besides that, one very important thing that is to be mentioned here is that with the spirit of Lok Kalyan, these guidelines mention that with the spirit of Lok Kalyan, if any person wants to, get a vaccine dose for somebody else from a private hospital, there is a non-transferable e-voucher that can be redeemed. You can give a gift, in a sense, you can give a voucher, and that electronic voucher can be redeemed at the vaccination site. This is a non-transferable voucher. So this voucher is to be made on the name of the person who you intend to get vaccinated, and they can get a vaccine in a private hospital at the cost which you will be bearing. So there are many social workers who have extended a helping hand during the pandemic, and this will definitely help people in case you're people around you, you can help getting vaccinated if you are capable enough. Besides, the other the vaccines are definitely irrespective of any status, they are free of cost. So these are the very, very essential guidelines that have been put into picture. And from 21st of June, when these guidelines will come into action, this will be very essential for accelerating the vaccination drive.
Thank you very much, Meghna, for those inputs. Moving on then to our developing story. The West Bengal leader of the opposition and the BJP MLA Suvendu Adhikari met the Home Minister Amit Shah at his residence in New Delhi today. Discussions on several matters took place, and the Home Minister assured support to West Bengal. Suvendu Adhikari will also meet the BJP President JP Nadal later in the evening. Suvendu Adhikari's visit to Delhi is crucial amid recent incidents of violence in West Bengal, especially after the elections targeting the Bharatiya Janata Party. And this is Suvendu Adhikari's first visit after he became the leader of the opposition in the State Assembly. Shailendra Mishra now joins us with more on this story. Well, Shailendra, so this is an important meeting, especially since there was targeted violence against the Bharatiya Janata Party after the election results at the beginning of May, and now that the party is in the opposition and firmly established as the main opposition party, it has a role to play. So I think all these issues were being discussed. Unmute your switch, Shailendra. I think you're on mute.
बिल्कुल महात्मा, मैं कह रहा था कि एक महीने से ज्यादा समय हो गया है जब हमने देखा कि चुनावी नतीजे आए पश्चिम बंगाल में, और उसके बाद जो हिंसा देखने को मिली वो थमने का नाम नहीं ले रही है और लगातार घटनाएं सामने आ रही हैं। कल ही एक बीजेपी कार्यकर्ता पर हमले की घटना सामने आई। हर हफ्ते ऐसी खबरें आती हैं। तो ऐसे में ये जो दौरा है विपक्ष के नेता का, सुवेंदु अधिकारी जो दिल्ली के दौरे पर आए हैं, बीजेपी के राष्ट्रीय अध्यक्ष से भी मुलाकात करने वाले। हम जानते हैं कि आज दिन में गृह मंत्री अमित शाह से भी मुलाकात की और पश्चिम बंगाल को लेकर तमाम मुद्दों पर बातचीत भी हुई है, जैसा उन्होंने ट्वीट कर बताया है। निश्चित तौर पर इसलिए भी अहम हो जाता है क्योंकि पश्चिम बंगाल में जो हिंसा हो रही है उसको लेकर बीजेपी लगातार जोर शोर से पश्चिम बंगाल की राज्य सरकार के रवैये को लेकर सवाल उठाती रही। और हम जानते हैं कि गृह मंत्रालय की एक टीम भी गई थी राज्य के दौरे पर हालात का जायजा लेने और साथ ही साथ पश्चिम बंगाल के राज्यपाल ने भी उन प्रभावित इलाकों का दौरा किया था जहां पर बड़ी संख्या में हिंसा के एक तरह से देखिए घटनाएं आरोप बीजेपी लगाती रही। तो निश्चित तौर पर यह दौरा बहुत महत्वपूर्ण है। जब बीजेपी के राष्ट्रीय अध्यक्ष जेपी नड्डा से मुलाकात होगी तब ये देखना होगा कि क्या और बातें होती हैं, क्योंकि बीजेपी एक बड़े अभियान की तैयारी कर रही है पश्चिम बंगाल में इन हिंसा की घटनाओं के खिलाफ। एक तरह से लोकतांत्रिक तरीके से एक बड़ा अभियान चलाने वाली है लोगों को जागरूक करने के लिए, और पश्चिम बंगाल सरकार की जो निष्क्रियता है एक तरह से देखो जो मूक दर्शक बनी हुई है उसको लेकर, तो उसको लेकर भी बातचीत हो सकती है आज शाम जब मुलाकात होगी।
We'll leave it there. Thank you very much, Shalinder, for those inputs. Now moving on then to our next story. The Chief Minister of Maharashtra, Uddhav Thackeray, met the Prime Minister Narendra Modi in New Delhi today. And during this meeting, it lasted for about an hour and a half at the Prime Minister's residence. The Chief Minister discussed various issues that concern the state of Maharashtra with the Prime Minister. The Chief Minister said that a list of various state-related subjects has been handed over to the Prime Minister. The Deputy Chief Minister, Ajit Pawar, the Cabinet Minister and Maratha Reservation Subcommittee President Ashok Chavan were also present at this meeting. And as we said, addressing a press conference in New Delhi, the Chief Minister said that the positive discussion took place regarding Maratha reservation and other OBC reservations for promotion in jobs. And other matters also included GST refunds as well as demand for the change in norms of the NDRF assistance of the central government. Let's move on to our next segment, which is National Prime. So 24-hour vaccinations have begun, in fact, from today at selected vaccination centers in Bihar. The Health Minister Mangal Pandey said that the vaccinations will be taking place at two places in Patna and Sadar hospitals. This is in each district, in fact, of the state. Now, online and on-spot registrations will be available for the vaccinations at the vaccination centers. People from the age group of 18 to 44 years can book slots, and registration from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. every day. And over 1 crore 12 lakh people, 27,000 people have been already vaccinated in the state. Now, out of these, in fact, 20 lakh people, 20,25,000 people are in the age group of 18 to 44 years of age. And meanwhile, the state's recovery rate has risen to over 98%, and the test positivity rate has declined to below 1%, and it is at 0.76%, in fact. Well, the Bihar government has removed COVID lockdown in the state amid the reduced active caseload. The government and the private offices are to remain open with 50% capacity. This is till 4 p.m. also. The timings have been staggered as that. Meanwhile, shops also will remain open till 5 p.m. in the evening. The private vehicles, they are allowed to ply. Arrangements will be in place for the next 1 week, and night curfew will take place 7 p.m. to 5 a.m. That's also remaining in force. Salman Haider is giving us an update on this story. Well, Salman, so we have said that, the restrictions have been removed, but there is night curfew, and there are some restrictions in a sense because it's only 50% participation in the workplace. There are timings till 4 p.m. So, I mean, give us an overview as to what kind of restrictions exist and what don't.
Yes, Mark, the situation, as you said, is improving day by day. So the lockdown has been lifted from day after tomorrow, I mean from 9th itself. And so the situation is very much improved, but school and colleges and religious places will remain closed. As you said, shops will remain open till 5 p.m. Up to now, they were allowed to open up till 2 p.m. So, and the private offices have been allowed to open with restrictions, of course, and they are, along with the government offices, will remain open till 4 p.m. As you know, as you already said, vaccination is also in the progress.
Okay.
Marriage ceremonies are allowed under previous restrictions of 20 people in attendance. And
Yes.
one thing is that public transport has
Right.
been allowed with 50% occupancy. So the things are day by day improving, and we hope that in near future.
Okay. Also, Salman, with regard to the vaccination drive, we've said that the vaccination drive is 24 hours. Is that?
Yes, at
what-
two places it has been in Patna Sadar, as you said, and PMCA. So now anyone can go there at any time and get vaccinated. After 5 p.m. on the spot registration will be allowed, on-site registration, and after that vaccination will be administered. Vaccine will be administered to them. So the new facilities are coming up for speedy vaccination also. Yes, Mark.
Okay. Thanks very much. So the increased pace, obviously, of vaccination will take place because it's a 24-hour vaccination center. Moving on then to our next story, Uttar Pradesh, the largest state in the country, has been witnessing a continuous decline in the daily COVID count. With all the districts having less than 600 active cases, the state government has decided to lift the curfews imposed in Uttar Pradesh. Shops and markets outside the containment zones will be allowed to remain open. Eateries on the highways too, vendors, they are all allowed to operate now. Night curfew is in force in all districts, and that's from 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. But the active case load in Uttar Pradesh currently stands at 14,000 in that large state. And in the last 24 hours, in fact, Uttar Pradesh registered 797 new cases of COVID-19. As many as 2.85 lakh samples were tested in the state yesterday. The government, the positivity rate, in fact, is at 0.2%, and the recovery rate is at 97.9%. So Ramendra joins us now from Lucknow with an input. Ramendra, so these these figures are very good. You know, give us why is there the night curfew then still in place?
देखिए मार्कलिन, उत्तर प्रदेश के लिए बड़ी खुशी की बात है कि लगभग 1 महीने बाद पूरे जितने भी बड़े शहर हैं वो भी कर्फ्यू मुक्त हो गए। जो दिन का कर्फ्यू वो समाप्त हो गया है। इससे क्या है कि जो छोटे बाजार हैं, गांव में कृषि की ज़रूरतें हैं, किसी को खाद का उर्वरक की ज़रूरत है, किसी को बीज की ज़रूरत है, किसी को कृषि यंत्र की ज़रूरत है, एक तो वो पूरी होगी क्योंकि कृषि का दौर चल रहा है और नई फसल की बुआई का समय है। दूसरा क्या है कि कोविड भले ही आपका जो ये बंद किया गया हो कि सारे बाजार खोल दिए गए हों, लेकिन अभी कोविड प्रोटोकॉल का पालन करना है। जैसे शैक्षणिक संस्थान नहीं खुलेंगे, सिनेमाघर नहीं खुलेंगे, जिम नहीं खुलेंगे, रेस्टोरेंट खुलेंगे, लेकिन आप उनमें भोजन नहीं कर पाओगे। पुलिस उन व्यापारियों के पास जा रही है जो व्यापारिक संगठन है कि आप कोविड प्रोटोकॉल का पालन कराइए, ज़्यादा लोगों की भीड़ मत लगने दीजिए। ई रिक्शा में 3 लोगों से ज़्यादा ना बैठने पाएँ, 4 पहिया वाहनों में 4 लोग बैठेंगे। और जो लोग आ रहे हैं वो सड़क पर पुलिस चेक कर रही कि आपको मास्क लगा है कि नहीं, आप कोई प्रोटोकॉल का पालन कर रहे हो कि नहीं। मुख्यमंत्री ने कहा है कि ये चुनौती समाप्त नहीं हुई है, थोड़ा स्थिरता आई है। तो दोनों चीज़ों को देखना कि बाजार भी खुले, व्यापार भी आगे बढ़े, लेकिन जान भी बची रहे, ये भी जरूरी है मार्कलिन।
Right, we leave it there. Thanks very much, Ramendra, for those inputs. Moving on then to our next story. In Rajasthan, the process of unlocking has already begun. Shops and markets are allowed to open till 4 p.m. Air-conditioned malls will remain closed. No wedding ceremonies will be permitted to take place in the state till the end of this month. And night curfew from 5 p.m. to 5 a.m. every day is in place. All kinds of social, political, sports, entertainment, cultural and religious gatherings will be banned in the state. So Vishal Barrister now joins us with an input from Rajasthan. Well, Vishal, things are improving in the state, but still number of restrictions in place. I mean, obviously the battle is not over as across the entire country, but the important thing is COVID-appropriate behavior as well.
Well, a very good afternoon to you, Mark. It's nice to hear from you, and thank God that you are fit in time, and so much praise for everybody working for DD News. Yes, things have improved. This was Unlock Part 2, and 4 hours of relaxation have been given to the markets. That means that the markets can open from say 5 in the morning to 4 o'clock, and then you have the evening curfew, which is for the self-restraint. The evening curfew will also stay there, and also the weekend curfew, which begins from 5 p.m. On Friday till the.
Well, thanks very much, Vishal, for those inputs. Moving on then to our next story. In Madhya Pradesh, Chief Minister Shivraj Singh Chauhan held a cabinet meeting with his ministers in Bhopal. And the ongoing corona curfew in the state has been extended till the 15th of June with certain relaxations. The state government has further extended the ban on the movement of passenger buses to and from Maharashtra, Chhattisgarh, Uttar Pradesh and Rajasthan till the 15th of this month. The ban also covers vehicles that have all India tourist permits. And Deepak now joins us with more inputs on this. Well, Deepak, contrasting it with other states, the Madhya Pradesh government says that the curfew will continue, even though there have been some easing of restrictions.
बिल्कुल, जिस तरीके से देखें तो मध्य प्रदेश में अभी जो पिछले एक हफ्ते में जो केसेस कम हुए हैं, उसके बाद कहीं ना कहीं रिलैक्सेशन देने की बात सरकार ने जरूर की है, लेकिन अभी भी जिस तरीके से जो संक्रमण है, कई तीसरे लहर के आने की संभावनाएं हैं, उन सभी को देखते हुए सरकार ने 15 जून तक अभी जो है कोरोना कर्फ्यू लागू रहने की जो घोषणा है वो की है। कुछ जगहों पर रिलैक्सेशन दी गई है, जैसे राजधानी भोपाल की बात की जाए तो यहाँ पर 10 जून से जो रिलैक्सेशन है वो शुरू होगा। कुछ जो दुकानें थी उन सभी को खोलने का जो परमिट है वो किया जाएगा, लेकिन सबसे मुख्य बात यह है कि लोग जो है वो अभी भी अगर अपने घरों से बाहर निकलते हैं तो वो कोविड एप्रोप्रिएट बिहेवियर जो है उसका जरूर से पालन करें। इस तरीके से लोग जो है, सरकार लगातार लोगों से यही अपील कर रही है कि ज्यादा से ज्यादा वैक्सीनेशन का जो कार्यक्रम है वो पूरा किया जा सके और लोग जो है वो उसके बाद भी जो कोविड के अनुरूप जो व्यवहार है उसको करते रहें।
We'll leave it there. Thanks very much, Deepak, for those inputs. Now, news coming in from the Supreme Court. Well, the Supreme Court has directed state governments and union territories to prevent and take action against NGOs, individuals, from collecting funds in the name of children orphaned by COVID-19 by disclosing their identity and inviting people to adopt them. Vikas Sarthi now gives us more inputs on this. Well, Vikas, an important direction that has been made by the Supreme Court, especially with regard to the children who have been orphaned by COVID. Clear directions by the Supreme Court against NGOs and individuals not to collect funds in the names of these people, the young people who have unfortunately lost both their parents, and as a result of that, there are also no instructions for them to be adopted as well. Vikas, put these directions into context and into perspective for us.
Well, Mark, Supreme Court has been hearing this issue suo moto. In fact, NCPC, our National Commission for Protection of Child Rights, informed the Supreme Court that certain organizations are publishing advertisements for seeking funds from public, and apart from that, some of them were offering adoption of these childs, though there is a whole legal process of adoption in India, and CARA, the Center for Adoption Resource Authority, that is always involved in any kind of adoption procedure. So, in terms of the process, the whole process used by these NGOs was illegal as per the law, and court said that these kind of adoptions are illegal, and all state governments and union territories must act against these organizations, these NGOs, as well as those individuals who are who are seeking help in the name of these COVID-19 orphans, and those also offering any kind of adoption.
So what actually happens then to children who, in case they do have, children who have are in this position, who have been orphaned, they basically contact who then? I mean, suppose somebody comes forward to help them, is that help considered legal?
Right, Mark. There are organizations which are seriously involved in this process of adoption, and these organizations follow each and every regulation, all sections of Juvenile Justice Act, and they always keep involved CARA in this whole adoption process. But there are some other unscrupulous organizations which have been seeking money in the name of these adoptions,
right.
And apart from that, they were using pictures of these kids to get money, to get funds. So NCPCR was of the view that these organizations are merely collecting money in the name of these children. So adoption policy is there, that will be followed by the organizations which are seriously involved in the adoption process.
Thanks very much, Vikas, for those inputs and clarification. Moving on then, the External Affairs Minister, Dr. S. Jaishankar, will be on a visit to Kuwait. This will be June 9 to 11. It's at the invitation of Sheikh Ahmed Nasir Al Mohammed Al Sabah, the Foreign Minister and the Minister of State for Cabinet Affairs in Kuwait. During the visit, the EAM will hold a high-level meetings in fact, and also address the Indian community there. And he will carry a personal letter from Prime Minister Narendra Modi to the Amir of Kuwait. And now in Midday Prime, it's time for news and updates from the world of business. So let me begin with Sensex. The domestic stock markets have posted small. In fact, we are likely to toss. We are going to go across to Tanvi, I think, if I can see. Let me see. Yes, there she is. Tanvi is around. Tanvi, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Mark. So yes, let's update our viewers on the domestic stock market news. Well, the domestic equity indices have posted small losses so far on Tuesday. So the Sensex at the BSE had lost 28 points, or 0.1% to 52,301 a short while ago. And the Nifty at the National Stock Exchange had dropped 9 points, or 0.1% to 15,743. But in the broader market, the BSE mid-cap index had gained 0.4% and the small-cap index had jumped 1%. The top index gainers are Tech Mahindra, Britannia, HCL Technology and Infosys, with gains of between 1.8% and 2.4%. The top index losers so far are Hindalco, Tata Steel, JSW Steel and SBI, with losses of between 1.5% and 2.2%. Moving on, most other key Asian markets reversed early gains on Tuesday ahead of US inflation data and a European monetary policy meeting later this week. So MSCI's gauge of Asia-Pacific stocks outside Japan fell 0.4%. Hong Kong's Hang Seng Index declined 0.2%. China's Shanghai Composite Index lost 0.5%. And Japan's Nikkei 225 Index also fell 0.2%. Back home at the Forex market, the rupee opened 3 paise stronger against the dollar in early trade on Tuesday. But later, the rupee lost more ground and had depreciated 3 paise more to 72 rupees 83 paise against the greenback in afternoon trade. And at the multi-commodity exchange, gold had dropped 24 rupees to 49,119 rupees per 10 grams. Silver had weakened 421 rupees to 71,396 rupees per kilo. Lastly, very quickly, let's update you on the global energy market as well. Global crude oil prices extended their losses on Tuesday as concerns about the fragile state of the global recovery and demand for crude and fuels were heightened by data showing that China's oil imports fell in May. So Brent crude was down by 49 cents, or 0.7%, to $71 a barrel. US oil lost 44 cents or 0.6% to $68.79 a barrel. China's crude imports fell 14.6% in May from a year earlier as maintenance at refineries limited demand for oil purchases. So that's it in Business Prime for now. Back to you, Mark.
Thanks very much, Tanvi. And let's move across now to news that's coming in from across the globe. Well, a quick update on COVID now from across the world. The world continues to battle with this pandemic, and so far more than 17 crore 43 lakh people have tested positive for coronavirus globally. That's cumulatively, totally. And as many as 15 crore 76 lakh people have recovered from this virus in the last 1.5 years. The deadly virus has in fact claimed the lives of 37 lakh 52,000 people worldwide so far. And the United States is at the top. It's registered the maximum number of COVID-19 cases in the world cumulatively, and more than 3 crore 42 lakh people have tested positive for the coronavirus in the US, and the deaths too in the US have surged past 6.12 lakh. Now, sticking with the US, a report on the origins of COVID-19 by the US government's national laboratory concluded that the hypothesis, which claims that the virus leaked from a Chinese lab in Wuhan, is plausible. It deserves further investigation, what the report says. It says that the study was prepared, in fact, in May 2020 by the Lawrence Livermore National Laboratory, and this is in California. It was referred by the State Department when it conducted an inquiry into the pandemic's origins during the final months of the Trump administration. Lawrence Livermore's assessment drew its conclusions on the genomic analysis of the COVID-19 virus. So President Joe Biden had said last month that he had ordered aides to find answers to the origin of the virus, and now they've said that it's plausible that the virus came out of a Wuhan lab. It's time for news from the world of sports now. And let's go across to Ashok now. He has all the news. Over to you.
Thank you, Mark. The expectation from India's highest-ranked female table tennis player Manika in Tokyo Olympics is very high. She qualified for Tokyo Olympic via Asian Olympic qualification tournament. She did not turn back after winning 2 gold and 1 bronze in Commonwealth Table Tennis Championship in 2015. Her biggest achievement was winning bronze medal in 2018 Asian Games in Indonesia. Now all eyes are on her performance in the Tokyo Olympics.
The gold medalist and Commonwealth champion representing India, Manika.
इंडियन फ्लैग जब आपका ऊपर जाता है और नेशनल एंथम बजता है तो लाइक गूज़बम्स आते हैं. अभी भी लाइक बोलते हुए भी मुझे वो फीलिंग आ रही है कि हाउ हैप्पी आई वाज स्टैंडिंग ऑन दैट पोडियम. जब मैं 4 साल की थी तब मेरे को बिल्कुल नहीं पता था कि मैं इस लेवल तक पहुंच जाऊंगी. उस टाइम ऐसा होता था कि फ़न के लिए खेलते थे जैसे छोटे बच्चे खेलते हैं, तो माइंड में नहीं था कि मैं इंटरनेशनल लेवल इंडिया को रिप्रेजेंट करूँगी. मॉडलिंग के ऑफर्स आए थे बट मेरे माइंड में एक ही चीज़ था कि मुझे टेबल टेनिस में ही आगे पहुँचना है और टेबल टेनिस इस गेम को आगे पहुँचाना है.
Representing the country at the tender age of 13 in 2008, Manika proved that her decision to choose table tennis as the goal of her life was absolutely correct. In the years to come, Manika set her eyes on the Commonwealth Games of 2018, winning the 2015 Commonwealth Table Tennis Championship and the 2016 South Asian Games in India, where she created history.
It was a big sensation. In 2018, she won 4 medals in Commonwealth Games. Nobody was surprised that ITTF gave a breakthrough award to Manika.
Manika's greatest weapon is her Swiss technique.
ट्विडल जो स्विच करती हूँ मैं अभी, वो मैं जैसे घर पे बैठते खाते हुए और सोच रही होती हूँ अगर कुछ, तो मैं ट्विडल करती रहती थी, तो वो मेरी आदत बन गई थी। एंड मैंने सोचा कि क्यों ना मैं टेबल पे इम्प्लीमेंट करूँ, एंड इट रियली वर्कड फॉर मी।
Manika's goal is not just to win, but also to set an example so that the girls from humble backgrounds can also make their way to table tennis and leave a mark on the world.
मैं यंग जनरेशन के लिए आई एम ऑलवेज अवेलेबल। वेयर आई प्ले इन इंडिया खेलेगा सेंटर, वहाँ पे भी बहुत सारे यंग किड्स हैं, तो उनको अपने बिजी स्केड्यूल के टाइम लेकर मैं उनको कभी कभी टेक्निक के बारे में बताती हूँ। जो टॉप स्कीम इनिशिएटिव ये शुरू किया है बहुत अच्छा है, एंड प्लेयर्स को बहुत हेल्प मिल रहा है इससे, एंड फ्री माइंड से हम खेल सकते हैं, कहीं भी टूर्नामेंट जा सकते हैं, एंड दे आर देयर फॉर अस।
A country would want the best for all its players, but then there are some players from whom the expectation is a little more than others. Manika happens to be one of those players. After creating history at Commonwealth Games, the entire world is now looking forward to Manika's Olympic performance, the ticket to which she won by becoming the highest ranked second place player in the Asian Olympic qualifying tournament.
ओलंपिक में गोल्ड मेडल लाना सबका ड्रीम होता है, एंड पर्सनली मेरा भी है। मेरा हमेशा से एम है कि मुझे उस लेवल पे लाना है टेबल टेनिस को, और सबकी सोच बदलनी है कि टेबल टेनिस भी कुछ है और ये लोग भी ओलंपिक में कुछ ला सकते हैं।
Manika is also ready to add a new chapter to India's golden future in table tennis and is the hope for 130 crore Indians at the Olympics. So that's in All Sports Prime. Back to you, Mark.
Thanks very much, Ashok, and that's all that we could get for you in this 1 hour of Midday Prime. Thanks very much for watching, and always remember to keep your masks on still, because we are not out of danger, and this constant challenge to beat the COVID virus is upon us. Thanks for being with us. Namaskar.